Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Saturday edition of the Paranormal Portal. How you guys doing out there? Happy St. Paddy's Day to you all. I guess it's the day where we all become a little bit Irish. I haven't got you unmuted yet. you got to wait for your introduction, Don. Jeez. All right. And, of course, before I go any further, let me welcome my good friend and guest host or co-host, Mr. Don Longbeard.
The guy laughing.
I'm not sure what's going on, but everything should be going great. I can see my voice here.
Yeah, they're still not hearing us there, though.
They're not hearing us on YouTube?
Yeah, Lady Death says no. They're still not hearing us.
Nothing? Oh, my God.
Oh.
Well,
Oh, it's working now.
it's working now, but is this... Here they can hear me on this one. So, Don, you might not get to be on camera.
Oh, dang.
Until the break, till I can sort out what the hell just happened here. But very strange, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not sure what's going on. I don't seem to have the broadcast audio going. Don, try it now. Can you talk?
Can I talk? I can always talk.
Yeah,
The question is will I be heard?
Well, we might be jumping between cameras here tonight.
Huh.
So that'll...
so it's live. So it's live here on full Don cam, and then it's live on full Brent cam.
Yeah, it's just
not on split screen.
The mixed one for some reason is not live, and that's very strange, very weird. I don't know. Again, nothing's been changed since last night, but I didn't use the split cam last night either because it was just me. But anyway, happy St. Patty's Day to everybody. As usual, this is the portal, and we can never know exactly what's going to happen, when it's going to happen, but something always tends to happen. So it just keeps us all kinds of excited and rejuvenated. And I think over the break then on YouTube, I will go in and reconfigure that panel to see what's going on with the sound. I don't know what happened, ladies and gentlemen, but I'm glad you're hearing us now. I'm glad you're... able to enjoy the the wonderful tones of my dulcimer tones, dulcet tones, whatever. So happy St. Patty's Day, I guess, is the big message tonight. That's the big takeaway so far, and we're thrilled to be here with you. Before we go too far, we are, of course, live on TFR, and that means the call-in number you're seeing on YouTube will work. It works. It works. I'm just going through a bunch of things in my head about this. It works tonight. So the call-in number for TFR Live is 213-233-3998. Again, 213-233-3998. So those of you on YouTube stream, the number is on the tile on your screen, so you can use that number tonight. It will work, and we can hear you. If you're calling from the UK or abroad, over in the UK area, it's 44203-393-2871. So 44203-393-2871. That's another option. So you're welcome to join us on tonight's show. I don't know if you guys heard or not, but I said that Jimmy Jean wasn't able to be here because he's working hard on Into the Microcosm, getting his show ramped up for the whole next level. So that's a pretty exciting time for him. And unfortunately, it just... Huh?
Definitely that, yeah. Exciting, definitely.
Absolutely.
I know how I felt when we finally,
we're still trying to bring it to the next level.
We're chasing that demon still.
I know. It's like a
quite literally
like a sick addiction here. I'm trying to chase the dragon here, Yeah, but I'm glad that at least these panels work. We can make this work. So, but before we go any further, I do want to get into some listener emails that we received.
Yes.
And, or at least one of them. We received one. And this is coming from listener Julia. Yeah, I'm going to try to find it here. Said, my friend came over after my uncle had passed away, and the topic of his death was brought up one day while at my grandma's home. I quickly told her that my uncle was in my grandma's closet. Isn't he dead? She said warily.
Oh,
yes, I exclaimed with excitement. He's in your grandma's closet. Want to see? I quickly grabbed her arm and led her into the bedroom, and with a smirk on my face, I ripped open the door and pointed in the corner of the closet. See? I smiled at her. Oh my God, she said, and she laughed. There lay the small box with my uncle's ashes.
Oh, jeez.
Indeed, my dead uncle was in my grandma's closet.
So that must have been Uncle Dennis. That must have been what it was, because she mentioned him in the chat room last night. So.
Oh, that's hilarious. Yeah, but that's all kinds of creepy. I'm sure there for a while until you got to the punchline. But I don't know. Doesn't normally, and I don't mean any disrespect, but don't normally you take the ashes and put them in some kind of urn?
Well, yeah,
like on a mantle or something. I mean, I just don't know. I don't have anybody's ashes that I'm taking care of. I mean, everybody that I know that's been cremated, usually they have their ashes spread. So maybe that's what's going on, is they're going to spread the ashes.
Well,
but
you
still.
never know. Well, there's no, when you get cremated, I don't know if you know this or not, but you come back in like a 5-inch by 5-inch by 5-inch cube box. And inside the box is like basically a Ziploc bag.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, that's all kinds of
That's
nice.
the way it works. Well, yeah, and then you got to pay a couple $100 for a nice urn, or just find somebody who has that can turn you a nice vase with a top that you just super glue together.
Oh yeah, so the tops don't ever come off those things.
That's what we did with my mom's husband who died. Yeah.
Oh.
Well, that's the way the family wanted it done. So we did it. But it was a really nice urn, and it was done nicely. It was very tasteful, but it was handmade, and we just basically caulked it on. Put the caulking on it, put it on.
Okay, very nice.
Threw it in a closet.
And put it in a closet?
Yeah, well, I carried it around for about 5 years because, I'm the family pack rat.
Okay.
Can you keep an eye on this? 10 years later, can you take your crap back?
Take your crap back. He was referring to ashes as crap.
Well, no, I mean my brother, my mother, my sister, my other brother. I'm like, holy crud.
Yeah.
I'm packing all this stuff around for you guys. Charge you rent.
That's what you need to do. You got to have your own family storage facility set up.
Dory, that's the way I'm going to go. Coffee can all the way. Thank you. Coffee can, definitely. Or a beer can, one or the
other. Tom will be in a beer can somewhere. It could happen, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just saying. But
I'll be sitting right on the shelf behind me. Here you go, Brent. How you like that, buddy?
Yeah, you'd actually fit into the studio nicely, I think. Right on the shelf behind your head there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
right by the candles. We'll keep you
right underneath that mask.
And the dragon sconces on the wall. Sure, why not?
Got to move this way. Point at the mask.
Oh yeah, do it again. I had you off camera.
Oh no, I see it.
Oh okay.
Here, do it. Here, right there.
Yeah, that's
that
the
mask.
Indonesian. I don't know. It's like a demon mask supposed to scare away evil spirits.
Well, I'm still here.
Well, yeah, but so far we have a reason for you to be here. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd also like to publicly just let everybody know we're starting a new playlist on our YouTube page, and it's basically the podcast. So it's and right now tonight we just posted a video of a dear friend of TFR and all of us here, and very wonderful man, William Whitecrow. He was, he's a healer. He was an investigator, paranormal investigating. He did exorcisms. He did all kinds of stuff, and he's a Native American shaman.
Right.
But he passed away recently, and of course it was a sad thing. But he also had a real long road, and God bless him. And I hope he's doing wonderful on the other side there. But the episode that we posted was the one appearance he made on my show, the Paranormal Portal here. And it was really cool. And listening back to that old episode, I just realized how absolutely stiff I was. I was only at it for just several months at this time, so I was starting to find my stride. But I still, it was one of my first interviews. In fact, my first interview was lucky. But William came soon after that, and it was really cool because he really helped carry the show. And well, he did carry the show, which was wonderful. It was amazing and a great discussion, and I was real honored to have shared that time with him. So check it out on our YouTube page, youtube.com/Paranormal Portal, where you can see Don and I live doing the show tonight as it is. We're not on the same screen together yet, but during the break I will try to get that out, so get that all sorted. Don's wicked laughter. I changed to your camera. It's not funny.
It is funny.
It's not funny.
It's funny to me.
Oh, wow.
I like it.
So here we go, ladies and gentlemen. This is our journey into the adventures of the Paranormal Portal. And it's never a dull moment around here. In fact, we say that this is the only paranormal show in existence that is actually haunted. Case in point, the two-panel presentation for the YouTube channel does not suddenly work.
And our house psychic says it's true anyhow.
What's that?
Our house psychic says it's true anyhow.
Yeah, that's right. The Paranormal Portal, Deb.
Yeah, she said that she saw something lurking in the background on that one. So.
Yep. She saw somebody hanging out, and it was very, mischievous, and I would have to concur. Whomever it is very mischievous, and it's funny. She said she saw him right after I saged, so that was apparently it's not some wimpy thing, whatever it is. But
need some sea salt.
Yeah, well, yeah, I need a lot of things. I gotta, I mean, really to do a real proper cleansing, of course. But I usually sage every once in a while just to get rid of a lot of ambient negative energy, which I think is important. And whether or not you believe in that is up to you. But they do also have very serious discovery that burning sage is actually healthy for you. It helps to kill microbes and bacteria in the area, in the air. And so it's very good for your environment, especially during these winter months when we're kind of shut in and cold season goes around and everybody's been hacking and spitting on everything. So it definitely is another step for a healthy endeavor. So if you have sage, if you don't have sage, get some sage and definitely cleanse your house. And it's also good just to get rid of. It doesn't have to be for negative entities. It doesn't have to be for doing chasing spirits out. It can be just because our surroundings absorb our energy. It gets stuck. It gets stuck in our environments. And so, there's a reason we get cabin fever. It's because we've been closed up in the same space for months on end, and we just need to get out. Yeah. Well, part of it is just because of the ambient energy that's just resonating and throbbing around us. And so doing things like cleansing with sage and with incense and other oils and poultices is really beneficial and good, and it does lower that energy and gets rid of a lot of the negative stuff. So do it when you can, ladies and gentlemen. It doesn't have to be a spiritual thing. Just do it because it's a healthy thing to do. At the very least, it's good for you on a very physical level, but spiritually, it's also good for you. So the doctor said. And by the way, I'm calling myself doctor now.
By the way, and I'm also the doctor.
Yeah, that's what I saw that meme on Facebook. It's like, the doctor said I should drink 2 shots of whiskey a day. Oh, and by the way, I'm calling myself the doctor now. I thought that was awesome. I'm like, well, how clever is that? Gotta love the internet, ladies and gentlemen, because without a sense of humor, we're just a bunch of idiots. Right, Don?
Sure. Wow.
give me a little backup here, will you?
Hey, what are you talking about?
Yeah, no, it's just me. Well, I know I'm plenty idiot sometimes.
Just a couple of guys with some microphones.
Yeah, I know. We're just a couple guys with a couple of schmucks with microphones in front of us, so we're just making it work. But tonight we're going to get into some paranormal stories, and of course we're going to hit a few that have quite a bit to do with the leprechauns, well, maybe not leprechauns, but some of the Irish spiritual lore and encounters. So.
Oh, and Lichty, don't kick our butts because we have a horrible.
Because we don't have
TV's best comedy.
What the hell was that?
That was a pop-up that I'm closing currently.
Ooh, thank you.
I didn't even. My mouse just kind of drifted over it. I hate these pages like this. They drive me crazy. You load a page and it's sitting there fine, and you see the little pictures moving, but the minute your mouse touches them, it's like, ah! Oh man.
So to all of our Irish friends, please forgive our pronunciations and bad accents.
You start throwing a lot of syllables at us, and we get kind of lost quick here in the portal. But we'll do our best to respect and give it the respect it deserves. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to start out with some encounters with fairies, because the fairy folk are part of Irish lore as well. All right, I think they are, right? They are tonight. If they no, they are.
Go.
They're all part of the kingdom of the Fae. But on a midsummer's day around 1853 in County Donegal, Ireland, a boy named Neil Colton was out behind his home with his brother and female cousin gathering berries when the three of them heard music playing nearby. Stepping around some large rocks, the trio saw a group of 6 to 8 small people dancing in a circle a few hundred feet away. As soon as they spotted the dancers, a small woman dressed in red broke from the group and ran at the children, striking Colton's cousin across the face with what seemed to be a green rush. I'm not sure what a green rush is. I imagine a branch. Mm-hmm. Is it really? Was that right?
I do believe so, yeah.
Okay. Well,
like good, a vine, yeah.
Yes. Sorry.
Got it right.
Not surprisingly, the children ran for the house, but as soon as they reached it, Colton's female cousin fell down dead. Colton's father quickly fetched a priest who, reading psalms and striking the girl with his stole, managed to wake her from her death-like state. The priest said that had she not grabbed Colton's brother when she was attacked, she would have been taken by the fairies forever.
Wow.
Yikes. And, of course, there's lots of legend and lore. And, ladies and gentlemen, some of you out there may be going, oh, my God, fairies, whatever. But I'm telling you, I mean this sincerely. I love these stories of people running into the wee folk. And it's not only in the UK and in these old colonies of our modern thought, like the UK and Scandinavia and stuff. The U.S. has its own and whole realm of these small creatures, and you might know them by names like puckwudgies, puck. There are gnome-like creatures that are sighted in the U.S. Going back to the ancient Cherokee, have had encounters with these small people. There are what are they called? It's gonna elude me. It's a Hispanic name, but down in the Southwest, there are these stories of these duendes. They're referred to as duendes, and these are little 18 to 24 inch tall people. They look like adults, but they're in these small frames. And these legends go back way back, but there are encounter stories up to modern times. And in fact, I just read a couple, or I heard a podcast actually that mentioned a couple that are within the last 18 months. So these things are still happening, ladies and gentlemen. I know it seems like a real leap of faith to open your mind up, but if one thing is possible in the paranormal, it's all possible in the paranormal. I mean, you can't just say, well, ghosts are real, Bigfoot's real, but not those things.
Yeah.
You know, there are legends and stories going back into our antiquity, into thousands of years. And so those stories came from something. And whether or not we can agree on their origins doesn't matter. I mean, could they be extraterrestrial? Maybe. I don't know. I don't pretend to know. But I know that there are stories and lore of people encountering small magical beings that can appear and disappear and can conjure light and cause people all kinds of problems, taking children. These are not just stories that are relegated only to the Emerald Isle and all of the surrounding kingdoms. So it's a U.S. thing as well. And I know that South America, Africa, all have stories of small people. So all these different cultures have these stories that came from somewhere. So could there be other people? Yeah, absolutely. We're just beginning to figure out this thing called life and reality. So, and maybe we never will, but I suppose I should have this scrolled up to keep an eye just in case. But that was the first story. The next is one day in August 1862, David Evans and Evan Lewis were on their way back from Brecon, Wales, with a load of timber and headed to New Quay. They stopped for a rest near a farm called, I don't know what the hell that's called. It's CWMDWR rather.
That's those Gaelic names for you.
Yeah, it's Gaelic. Simdeer, I would imagine, would be how it's pronounced. CWMDWR. Simdeer, I'm going to guess.
Okay.
It sounds Welsh, but it looks Welsh, actually. But as they watched the reapers working in the fields, Evans spotted a line of 50 or so figures going up the side of a hill about 370 meters, 1,200 feet away. As Evans pointed out the group to Lewis, the first of the figures reached the top of the hill and started to dance. Soon all the figures had reached the top and were dancing together in a large circle. As Evans and Lewis watched, the figures danced closer and closer to the center of the circle in a spiral pattern. As each figure reached the center of the circle, they disappeared into the ground. After all of them had vanished in this fashion, they reappeared the same way, one by one, and danced another round before vanishing back into the hill in the same manner. This time they did not reappear. Evans and Lewis told the first person they ran into on the road, an old man, about what they had seen and asked if he knew who the dancers could have been. He had no idea himself, but did mention that his grandfather had once stated that fairies used to dance in the area. Well, there you have it. That's from the 1800s. I guess we're going to go take our
Wow.
break, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay.
That came quick, but that's what technical problems do to the portal. They push the envelope. So we'll be right back. Don't go away. We'll get this all dialed in. And those of you on YouTube, those of you on YouTube, you're kind of stuck with us because I got to get this figured out. I got to find out what the hell just happened. So, we might not have sound, but I'm going to be here working on it.
Like antibiotics, and it lowers the cholesterol and blood pressure. It also has milk thistle, which is the best detox for liver.
Well, yeah, my microphone's on.
I'm glad I did 4 months ago. And here's obvious
results. There we
my
go.
hands and feet don't get cold anymore.
That's us.
Veins have faded too.
I got you muted. Go ahead.
How does this sound? Yeah, I'm hitting those yellows. Yeah.
Okay, I think they should be able to hear us now.
All right, hopefully.
Hopefully. Ask them in the YouTube if they can hear us now.
Oh, we can hear you, Brent. Yeah, but can you hear me? Maybe not.
Well, no, it takes a while for them to get the feed, you know.
Are you looking to start a fitness program?
That's right. Yeah, they got that leg going on.
Do you need help navigating the
Yep, they can hear you. Good.
Yay!
All right, don't ever do that again.
I didn't do anything.
You just said yay.
Oh, so?
It's right in my ear. That was really high pitched.
I'm so sorry.
That's much better. You can yay like that anytime.
Yay.
All right, we're going to be right back, ladies and gentlemen.
Medicine health professional and hold a doctorate in naturopathic medicine. If you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, or just want to up your game in terms of health and fitness, then visit my website, Suzanne'sNaturalHealthRx.com, and schedule a consult. Use the Contact Me form to let me know you heard about me here.
works, ladies and gentlemen. It works. We got it fixed. We got it fixed. So now we can both be on the screen on YouTube.
Hopefully.
And everybody can hear us. And you guys are hearing us on iHeart, TuneIn, TalkStream, and iHeart, TuneIn, TalkStream, and TFR Live. Sorry. I forgot the mother station.
The Mother's Day, yeah. TFR.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that
Truth
place.
Frequency
Yeah.
Radio.
That one channel.
Where it all started.
Yeah, exactly. So we hope you're having a great night, and thanks for sharing it with us tonight. There's a lot of people out there, Don, tonight.
There is. I'm excited.
Yeah, there's thousands listening all over.
Nice.
TFR has nearly 1,000. iHeart has 1,800. TuneIn 71. It's amazing.
I don't know why anybody would call in to listen to us on a phone.
Well, I mean, if you're out and about and stuff and you don't have the iHeart app, if you have the iHeart app, of course, you can listen to us anywhere. And anything on TFR, but you can listen to anything. And TuneIn is the same way, but some people still choose not to have apps, or they don't maybe still have smartphones, and so the call-in line is another option. You know, you got to have a smartphone for an app, Don.
Yeah, well.
But thank you guys for being with us. Thanks for sharing the night with us and putting up with us. And we are going through some stories of some Irish tales of spookiness.
The Irish?
The Irish.
Irigumbra.
Yeah. I once knew a girl from Galloway. No. I'm not going to limerick this up in here.
Sorry.
So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. You get what you get here on the portal. This is, like I always say, it's live and unrehearsed. And largely unplanned as it goes. So.
Apparently so.
But next story, 1887, folklorist William Martin was taking his vacation on the Isle of Man. Oh, that's where our other friend Ian is from.
Yep.
In the Irish Sea near Great Britain and Ireland, when he met a mail cart driver who told him of an annoying experience he had in the summer of 1884. One evening, the mail car driver had set out on his rounds to collect bags of mail from the surrounding areas to bring back to the collection center. And after gathering the mail, the driver was on his way back, and just 10 kilometers, or 6 miles, from the end of his trip, where he encountered a troop of fairies dressed in red and carrying lanterns. The fairies stopped the cart's horse, threw the mail bags onto the road, and started to dance around the bags. The mail car driver, apparently a stubborn sort, proceeded to struggle and get the bags back on the cart, but as soon as he managed to place one on the cart, the men in red would toss it out all over again. Wow, these are little bastards. This kept on until daybreak, when all the fairies left and the mail cart driver arrived at his destination hours late and irritated beyond belief. Yeah, that would be a pain.
Yeah, no doubt. It's like toss it in, watch them toss it out.
It'd be like, okay,
why don't you get in and toss them out?
It's like dealing with a toddler. It's like, no, don't do that. No, don't do that.
This is going to take a while to learn, isn't it?
I know. It's just like, how often can you repeat the same thing? But it seems very childlike, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So,
well, I've heard that the Fae are like that. Some Fae are
playful,
like that. They're just going to mess with you, and at least they're not red hats.
What? Right. I guess those are dressed in red, though. I think.
Well, but red hats are different.
Okay.
They like to soak their hats in the blood of their vanquished foes.
Are these a fairy type? Or?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Don will educate us more about that.
Not really.
Coming up.
I'll talk about banshees instead.
Well, you can do that, but where did you learn about these red hats? Just came up somewhere? Okay.
Where do I know anything from? I don't know. I'm a fount of useless knowledge.
Okay. Well, the next one is in 1928. In the 1928 issue of the Transactions of the Devonshire Association, a letter written by Mrs. G. Herbert told of 2 odd incidents that she had experienced that she felt were evidence of fairies. In 1897, when Herbert was 7 years old and out in the afternoon walk, she spied a little man, only about 45 centimeters or 18 inches tall, under an overhanging boulder in Dartmouth, England. He had a wizened face and was wearing a pointed hat that curved slightly forward, a doublet, and a little short knicker things. Suddenly, he vanished. Startled, the young girl ran home and told her mother what she had seen, only to have her mother laugh at her. Wow, that's supportive. 28 years later, in 1925, then 35-year-old Mrs. Herbert was riding horse on the moors of Dartmoor one sunny day. She knew these moors like the back of her hand and was well-traveled area. It was in a well-traveled area, and she inexplicably lost her way. She knew the landmarks and places around her, yet was utterly unable to decide which way to go. Realizing that she was likely being confused by pixies playing with her, Herbert took action, turning her pockets inside out as a powerful charm against fairy magic. This did the trick. Everything around her then became familiar again, and she was able to ride home. Now that's funny, huh? Just turning out your pockets, boom, and you're free of that charm.
That's weird.
It is very weird, right? Huh. I didn't know that, but again, those are the kind of things that are just going to get lost to time. Why would that work? I have no idea. But they firmly believed it worked, and she's saying it worked for her. Now, maybe it was just a powerful exercise in believing, the placebo thing. Like, I know if I do this, I'm going to remember, and boom, she remembered.
Right.
So perhaps it's just, having a set of ritual is powerful just in its suggestion alone.
Well, think of the movie Inception, where he had they had the top, and if the top spun without having to be respun, he was still in the dream, the inception. So, maybe that's just hey, that looks good on you there, buddy.
Yeah, I know, it's
Let's
really
just
nice.
Spill that on you.
It feels good dribbling down my chest. It kind of fizzes. No, I'm just kidding. It's just. Wow, I totally didn't wrap my mouth around that at all. I'm out of practice. I'm usually drinking water except on show nights. So I guess I'm out of practice.
Oh, boy.
It was a strange morning, to say the least, one day in May 1913. Young brothers Silby, Sid, and Clyde Latham were chopping cotton on their family's farm near Farmersville, Texas, when their dog started to bark frantically at something. The boys went to investigate and found the two dogs barking furiously at a small man only around 45 centimeters or 18 inches tall, who was green all over and looked like he was wearing a green sombrero. His arms hung at his sides as if they were attached there, and the green man appeared to be some sort of rubbery suit that covered his entire body. Huh. It was about all the boys saw of the little man before the two dogs attacked and tore him to pieces.
Wow.
Spraying red blood and human-like organs all about. Wow. That's harsh. The boys retreated to their work. They're just like, oh, let's get back to work. Unsure of what to think and a bit horrified. The dogs followed and stayed near them for the rest of the day, as if frightened. The two brothers checked a couple of times to be sure that the body actually existed, which it did, but when they told their parents, they didn't believe the boy's story. By the next day, the evidence of the little man's existence and death was gone, as if he'd never been there. That's a horrible end for that little green guy. But maybe he was a bastard too. I don't know.
Well, it's because he hit his pot of gold.
Yeah, is he a leprechaun? Could be. I don't know.
Get him.
Don, we drove through a rainbow. There was no gold.
Well, like I said, sometimes the IRS gets to it before you.
Yeah, that's true.
It's the luck of the IRS. IRS.
The ears.
Oh, bad. That was bad.
That was pretty dry. I need another drink after that.
Yeah, I need a drink too.
Well, I don't have that kind of libation, sir. Somewhere around 1937, the Fairy Investigative Society of England, yes, there really was one, received a letter from a young woman who had experienced a very strange encounter while staying at an old house in Gloucester. I think it's Gloucester. Gloucester or Gloucester. It's a C. It's not CH.
Lichty's going to reach through and slap us.
Lichty's going to be so offended by our abuse of the language. But we're trying, my dear. We're trying. The house had a garden that attached to the forest of bird-lip beeches. One day, after she washed her hair, the young woman walked to a nice sunny spot out of sight of the house to let her hair dry as she enjoyed the scenery. Then she felt an odd tugging in her hair. She turned to look and discovered a man, only 23 centimeters tall, 9 inches tall, and dreadfully ugly and wrinkled, tangled up in her hair.
Oh.
His skin was the color of dead leaves, and he complained in a high, squeaky voice that she had no right to be there as he struggled with her hair. But the moment he freed himself, he disappeared. Maybe that's how you catch him. Just throw wigs around and they get stuck in them. I don't know.
Get stuck in what is this spider webby thing?
I don't know, right? And I wonder why he had to be free to disappear. What's the deal there?
Oh.
Interesting, right?
Things you take home with you.
Well, that's in every story is a hint. In every tale, there's some kind of wisdom to take from it. So, if you want to trap a little 9-inch tall, wrinkly old man, just drape him in hair, is what I got from that. In 1948, Mr. E.J.A. Reynolds, instead of saying a name, it's Mr. E.J.A. He had a lot of acronyms there. Was just 10 years old when he was visiting Horsham, England during a school summer holiday. He went out one moonlit night to set rabbit traps and then waited nearby to see if he would catch anything. After a short while of waiting quietly, however, a 45-centimeter, 18-inch tall man covered in hair stepped out from the blackberry bush near the boy. The odd visitor didn't seem to know that the boy was there, so Reynolds got a good look at the strange man. His face was bare and leathery, with a sharp nose. His arms seemed to be longer compared to his body than a human would be, and after a short time, the odd man stepped back into the bush. The couple whom Reynolds was staying with laughed at him when he told them about seeing the little man. So a few days later, Reynolds probably kept his mouth shut when he was riding on top of a double-decker bus through Horsham and spotted the hairy little man walking across a garden in town, this time in broad daylight. Wow. I think it's just... They must be able to tune people to say that I'm going to let him see me, but none of those other people.
Yeah.
How
does that work?
I don't know. I have no idea. Fairy glamour. It's fairy glamour.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, fairy glamour. Yeah.
Yep. Mary Treadgold, a children's book author in England, was riding a bus on the Isle of Mull, M-U-L-L, on April 30th, 1973, when the bus pulled to the side of the road to let an oncoming car pass. As Treadgold looked across Peat to the side of the road, she noticed a young man with a shovel digging a hole near a patch of heather. He caught her eye for two reasons. First, he was posed with a foot on the shovel, ready to drive it into the ground, yet he wasn't moving. I think they call those statues, but as if frozen in position to try to be less noticeable. Second, he was only about 45 centimeters or 18 inches tall. He was wearing blue overalls and a white shirt, which almost seemed to glow. With the sleeves rolled up, he also had tight curly brown hair and a sack on the ground next to him. Treadgold stared at the young man for about 4 seconds, long enough to confirm that she was looking at an actual living being and not a statue of some sort. Okay, I'm wrong about the statue. Then the bus started to roll away. She tried to turn to look back, but it wasn't fast enough, and soon the spot was lost to view. Now I'm wondering what he's burying.
Mm-hmm.
Is that where they put their gold?
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh. I don't know about the whole legend of the gold thing, where that came from, but apparently there's a belief to it. In May 1977 issue of Fate, an American magazine devoted to stories of odd events, printed a letter from Cynthia Montefiore describing two strange things that she saw in her mother's home in Somerset, England. One day, Montefiore was in the garden with her mother, who was showing her how to take cuttings from a rose tree. They were standing opposite sides of a rose tree when her mother suddenly put a finger to her lips to indicate that they should be quiet. Then she pointed to one of the blooms. God, okay. There, plain to see, was a 15-centimeter or 6-inch tall woman with beautiful wings like those of a dragonfly. She was pale pink with long silvery hair and was pointing a small wand with a glowing tip at the center of the flower. The two women watched this little being for about 2 minutes as her wings beat like a hummingbird's, and she continued to point her wand. Then she simply disappeared. Needless to say, both women forgot to finish the lesson on rose cuttings. Later, Montefiore was sitting under a tree in the same garden reading a book when she noticed something moving in front of her. She looked up to see what looked like a sturdily built figure in a one-piece brown suit run from the lawn to a young fir tree where it disappeared. The figure was only about 45 centimeters or 18 inches tall. Montefiore jumped up to look at the fir tree but couldn't find nothing unusual or useful. And there's one more on this whole list of them, and it was, how much time? Yeah, we got 10 minutes. We're good.
10 minutes, right on.
It was summer evening in 2005 when a man identified only as JF claimed that he and his girlfriend were part of a group visiting a friend's house in Chicora, Pennsylvania. The house was in a thickly wooded area, and they had watched the sunset from the back deck of the house. They continued to chat and hang out as the night grew darker and cooler, the deck lit by a single spotlight, and then they heard a noise in the potted plants near the spotlight, and everyone turned to look as something shot into the air from the pots. The creature was about 30 centimeters or 12 inches tall. It appeared to have a human head with long pointy ears and something wrapped around its body. It paused for a moment in midair, just between the spotlight and the people. Then its wings opened, unwrapping from around the apparently female being's body. The wings were bat-like in that they appeared to be a membrane stretching from her fingers to her toes, and veins could be seen where the spotlight was shining through. But in overall shape, the wings resembled that of a butterfly. The whole little being seemed to lightly glow with greenish light. After hanging in space for a moment, the little being fluttered across the deck like a butterfly over the heads of the group and off into the dark woods. The only word that the group could agree to call this strange creature was, not surprisingly, fairy. So there's some stories. I think they're pretty cool. Did you enjoy those, Don?
Yes, I absolutely did.
I did too.
I really love hearing about little green guys getting ripped apart by dogs, though. That's
Is that one the one?
that one sticks out the most. Yeah,
That's yeah.
It was quite graphic, actually.
It was. It's really unfortunate
Blood
because
and body, human type, innards flew everywhere.
I mean, could you imagine if there was like you're walking along and there's like two horse-sized dogs growling at you and want to rip you to shreds? What would you do?
Wouldn't run.
Yeah, I don't
They'd
think this thing ran either.
Yeah,
but
climb a tree.
Yeah, yeah. Well, there's that. But anyway, why don't you tell us some stories?
Me?
Don?
Oh, me?
It's time for you, sir.
All right. How about this? How about Corny the Poltergeist?
Please tell us about
right,
Corny.
Let's go here. This poltergeist is alleged to have actually shown himself to two people. The first is said to have died of fright, and the second one, a 7-year-old boy, describes him to his mother as a naked man with a curl on his forehead and skin like clothes horse, meaning a pale skin. Corny the Poltergeist. The family referred to him or it as Corny. When and how they came up with this name is unknown, and he was known to answer to that name. His voice was said to sound as though he was speaking through an empty barrel, kind of like my head. He used to love to tease the servants who used to sleep in the kitchen where it was the warmest. After numerous teasings by Corny, they begged to sleep in the attic, but after only one night they chose to go back to the kitchen, as he kept them all awake by jumping out of the cupboards and shouting, "Ha ha! I'm here for you! I'm not confined to any one place in the house." It's not a poltergeist that I know of. A poltergeist with a sense of humor. Mm-hmm. Corny had a very warped sense of humor, which the Irish are famed for. His first way of letting himself be known was by mimicking the sound of someone walking on crutches when one of the family members hurt their knee. He would never allow anything to be kept in the kitchen cupboard, tossing out anything that was in them. One night, Corny announced that he was going to have company, and if the family wished to have water, they could draw it before going to bed. The next morning, the water in the tank was sooty black, and there were sooty handprints all over the bread and butter.
Oh.
The family naturally asked a priest to come, but the very vocal Corny was silent that night. When asked why he had not spoken or made his presence known, Corny replied, "I could not speak while that good man was in the house." Corny made life for the family so intolerable that they decided to sell up and leave, but every time prospective buyers came to view the house, Corny would drive them away. One night in desperation, the lady of the house appealed to Corny, begging him to stop troubling new buyers, to which Corny agreed, saying, "You'll be all right now, for I see a lady in black coming up to this house, and she will buy it." Within a half an hour, a widow visited and bought the house straight away. so leaving that poor, tortured family from Dublin to move on in peace. Oh, what a nice guy!
Wow, I'd see that'd be a cool kind of spirit to have around.
Oh, you know what? Let me read this real quick. It
Absolutely,
says,
take the floor for.
well, no. I mean, it's just something coincidental. It says this was first published on October 23rd, 2016, and was last modified on November 5th, 2016. That date is the same date you had your interview with William Whitecrow.
Oh, wow. Serendipity.
Yep, that's kind of weird.
Huh.
Well, there you go. There's Corny the Irish Poltergeist.
Okay. We'll keep going. You're
okay,
doing great.
Sure. Let's see here. This particular story doesn't take place at a crossroad, but in a stately home in Celbridge, County Kildare in the 18th century. Castleton House. In Celbridge, there stands a beautiful stately house which was built by William Conley, who was the Speaker of the Irish Parliament in 1722. Conley had also built the infamous Hellfire Club, which was cursed from the beginning. After the death of Conley in 1729, his widow, Catherine, continued to live there, hosting extravagant parties, becoming famous for her hospitality. After her death in 1752, the house passed to their nephew, William James Conley, MP, for Ballyshannon, County Donegal. He was married to Lady Anne Wentworth. Wow, there's a lot of... yeah, daughter of the Earl of Stratford.
Wow.
It was her that the gentleman in question first appeared. The first appearance of the Castleton House ghost. One day she happened to see a strange tall man standing in the upper gallery. He proceeded to walk down the non-existent staircase, taking tiny steps as though the staircase steps were very small. He paused by a large window and started to laugh. A high, mocking, cruel, arrogant laugh that sent chills down Lady Anne's spine. He looked down upon the stricken lady as though he was the rightful owner of the house and she was a lonely servant. 10 years passed with no more appearances. Conley expanded on the original house and built a staircase exactly where his wife had previously seen the man. More than 20 years passed, and the house, now owned by William and Anne's son Thomas Conley and his wife Lady Louisa, who was the great-granddaughter of King Charles II of England, and Louis de... I'm going to kill that name. I'm just going to skip it. One fine day, Thomas and Lady Louisa went walking in the beautifully landscaped grounds of their stunning home. Thomas was recalling the tale of the strange man to his wife. A few days later, on a wild, stormy November day, Thomas went out riding with the Kildare hounds. Many of the hunters turned for home as the elements were against them, not unusual for weather to be stormy in November here in Ireland. And the fox was proving to be very wily and elusive. Only a handful of riders, including Thomas, decided to brave the storm and carry on. Turning in his saddle, Thomas noticed a newcomer to the group. Sitting atop a fine black stallion, which looked so fresh as though it had just left the stables, was a tall fellow dressed in gray with great thigh boots. Those were great thigh boots. Thomas called out to the man, "Good day to ye. A poor day for sport." The man did not answer, just merely grinning at Thomas, showing a large discolored teeth before turning his horse and proceeding to ride up the slope of the hill. At that exact moment, the hounds started to bay and howl as though they had closed in on the fox. Thomas galloped up the hill following the sound of the baying hounds. When he reached the top of the hill, he reined in his horse, astonished, as the hounds were nowhere to be seen. Instead, to his surprised eyes, fell upon a shaking tablet. The stranger had dismounted his horse and was standing holding a bloody corpse of a fox proudly above his head. The stranger smirked at Thomas as he lowered the fox, and in one swift bite, he bit the tail straight off the poor fox.
Ouch.
Dropping the carcass, he offered the brush, the tail, to the now totally disgusted Thomas. The young squire, feeling sick, turned to leave, refusing the terrible gift. The man stopped him in his tracks when he spoke. "Conley, if you will not take the brush, we will offer you will you offer me a cup of something hot in your great house? And we're coming to break, so let's leave it there. And I'll finish the hospitality at Castleton House after the break. But until then...
Yeah, I guess we are at break, aren't we?
Yeah, absolutely.
Time flies when you're in the portal, ladies and gentlemen, but we're going to go to break. Don't go away. We'll be back for the second hour of our adventure in just a couple minutes. Be right back.
Hi, everyone.
Play their games. Everybody loves to place their bets. They don't understand the price I paid. They don't care to comprehend. Trace their lines upon my body, ripping stars across my heart. Raging anger pours inside me as their lies keep falling apart. With my silence, I am not a stupid boy. No more breaking me with kindness, just you dance upon my joy. Leading me with empty promise, you're just another fucking mess. Taking off the slice of my sanity, just make sure that you're well fed.
A nightmare from which they cannot wake.
I can't see you, Mommy. Where are you?
I've never sensed anything like it. Carol Ann is not like those she's with. They're attracted to the one thing about her that is different from themselves. Her life force. very strong. It gives off its own illumination. It is a light that implies life and memory of love and home and earthly pleasures. Something they desperately desire, but can't have anymore. Right now, she's the closest thing to that.
Poltergeist are usually associated with an individual. Hauntings seem to be connected with an area. A house, usually.
Poltergeist disturbances are fairly short duration, perhaps a couple of months. Hauntings can go on for years.
Never a dull moment here in the portal, ladies and gentlemen. We've just been informed in the YouTube chat that we should be in business selling Paranormal Portal potties. Self-flushing, maybe. Yeah, there you go, Don. What do you think? Should we be doing? We should be in a different business?
Well, no, not necessarily. Even though remember like when people found sinkholes back in the day, they used to just throw trash and stuff in it.
Oh, absolutely.
That's not what the portal is. You're not supposed to throw that stuff in the portal. Goodness.
Yeah, that's true. But I thought it was pretty funny. That's a pretty funny suggestion.
Oh, gosh.
There's so many things you can do with a name, I'm telling you.
Hey, just so people know, if you visit paranormalportalradio.com, you can, too, also purchase a Paranormal Portal shirt, hat, hoodie, all kinds of things.
And other items that are coming out pretty soon.
Other items as well?
These fancy goblets with handmade emblems on them.
Hey, is that a handmade medallion on the front of that glass?
It is. Of
Who
my own
made that?
carving. I carved it myself.
You made that?
Yep.
Wow.
I'm going to make these, ladies and gentlemen, handmade goblets. Well, I didn't make the goblet, but I made the emblem on there.
He blows hot air, not glass.
Yeah. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Another thing that I'm developing. So, going to be putting those out there pretty soon. But you just never know. We're just a font of creativity up in here. You just never know what kind of new and amazing ideas we're going to get. I did get your pick. I haven't had a chance to look at it. I saw it in there. I read your email, but I haven't had the chance to really open it up, blow it up, and pull it up in Photoshop and run some filters on it to see if I can see what's going on there. But it looks pretty cool right offhand. Thank you, Pixie. I appreciate that. That's going to be the Paranormal Portal goblets.
Yes.
There's going to be several different models, but that's just the first proof of concept that I whipped out. So cool.
And I'm not allowed to touch it. No, Don's not allowed to touch that.
Well, no, it's not that. That's actually, it's okay, Don.
Oh, all right.
Oh, there you go. There you go, Pixie. You're gonna have to email that stuff to us. Don't just let it go in chat like that.
Yeah, don't give it away. Give it away.
Jeez,
give it away.
You get brainstorms like that.
Gosh.
Bring them on home.
You know our email address. Gosh, Don Smash.
Don Smash.
There
Thanks,
you go.
Lady
Death.
Yeah, he's like that. Don's got Hulk mode.
Oh, that's right. They can't see the goblet in TFR.
They can't, but if you look at the stream later, ladies and gentlemen, in TFR chat, you can see the goblet. I think it's pretty cool. I'm pretty excited about it, and I've just about got everything all ironed out with all the processes and stuff, and I think they're a lot of fun. So I'm going to have several different models, but that's just the first proof of concept.
I just need one model.
Don't take my idea, anybody. This is my mad face.
Pixie said she just trademarked it.
Oh, well, I'm trademarking Galactic Pixie then.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, touche.
There you go.
Oh, snap.
So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we are going through the evening here on the portal, and
burning right through it.
We are getting right through it, yeah. But the nice thing about that is that it's actually handmade, right, Don? I mean, it's not just.
It is, yeah. He sat down, carved it out. It's awesome.
I sculpted it and just put it on there. Lewis, the long-beard dragon.
The long-beard dragon.
There you go. That's not bad. All right, so we are going through the evening talking about all kinds of paranormal mayhem, most of which doesn't have to do directly with us, which is nice, but it started out with us with the technical glitches right on the front end, but that's just the portal. And there's always something going on or going to go on or something.
Absolutely.
But we got some stories here about some more encounters with fairies. And I love these stories. I really do.
Well,
I don't know if, what?
I still have the rest of my story.
Oh, yeah, shoot, that's right. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, brother. We're going to get back to Don's story, ladies and gentlemen. So without further ado.
Adieu.
I'll give you the Don cam. Going full long beard up in here.
So, we left off Conley, the man asking Conley to offer him a cup of something hot in his great house. So it says here, hospitality at Castleton House. Thomas and Lady Louisa, like his great-uncle or great-aunt Catherine, were famous for their warm hospitality, and although the stranger, with his leering smile, turned Thomas's blood to ice, he felt he could not refuse the man. Reluctantly answering the man, Thomas said, "There is hot rum punch at my house, for all that want it." Entering Castleton House, at the Conley's side, the stranger paused as he looked around the great entrance hall, spying the staircase sweeping down from the gallery. The stranger emitted a low, hissing laugh, much to Thomas's disgust. The stranger, following the other huntsmen, took a soft seat by the welcoming fire. When a servant approached the man to help him remove his soiled boots, the stranger waved him away, snarling, "Leave me be. I am sleepy and I do not wish to be disturbed." The man quickly settled down for a comfortable nap. Curious, Thomas approached the man for a better look at him. Astonished now, Thomas took a step back when he saw how hairy the man was. Hair covered the back of his hands and seemed to carry on up his sleeve. Tufts of coarse hair sprung from his ears. Warily, Thomas called for 2 servants to remove one of the boots off the now soundly sleeping stranger. Carefully sliding the boot off the man, the servant cautiously revealed a thin, hairy leg terminating in a great black, hairy hoof. The company all leapt from the fireside, terrified at what they had saw. Thomas quickly sent the servant to bring a parish priest. When the priest arrived, the stranger awoke. Seeing that his boot had been removed, the stranger leapt with a snarl and stood by the mantelpiece despite the heat from the roaring fire. The stranger let loose a high, chilling laugh, exactly like Lady Anne had heard all those years before, freezing the blood of all those present. The priest, petrified, tried to mumble out an incantation to the amusement of the demonic interloper. In desperation, the priest threw a missal, a book containing all the text needed for masses throughout the year, at the figure. He missed the target and hit the mirror above the fireplace, shattering it into a million pieces. The threat of being hit by the holy book was enough for the stranger, who leapt into the air and vanished. The only sign that he had ever been there was the dirty, greasy boot and the huge crack in the stone fireplace. The ghost of Castleton House has never been seen since. There you go.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's wonderful, brother. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Those are crazy. You know, those are just steeped in so much history and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's just crazy.
Sorry, I'm just answering a question in the chat.
Yeah, everybody wants to talk to you tonight, big guy.
Well, you know, it's nice to be wanted. I enjoy it.
Yeah.
But no, I just had a question again from D Swagger about did we get her email? Yeah. If you're talking about that photo, D, I did get it. I haven't had a chance to check the image, as I said before, but I will. I'm going to open it up in Photoshop and throw some filters on there and see what jumps out. But very cool so far, just rudimentarily. But yeah, very cool. So I'm going to continue on with our stories of paranormal mayhem here on the portal. But Uriah's in the
TFR, yeah.
live chat room. And if you have a story to submit, please send it to paranormalportalradio@gmail.com, please. I would love to see it, and I'd be happy to read it on air. And please let me know in your story at the end or whatever, if you want to be named in your story or if you'd rather be anonymous, that's cool. I don't need to name you on the air. I'm perfectly fine saying a listener or whatever you want me to use. So I'd love to see it. But yeah, paranormalportalradio@gmail.com. All right. So, and Raya actually says that they usually check out the stream on YouTube. So
nice.
Very cool. Thanks for stopping in to the TFR Live portal as well.
So you're already familiar with our funny faces. Do you still have me on Doncam?
I don't know what I've got going on here. Really? It's just you? It is.
Hi.
It's all you. You didn't pick your nose or nothing, did you?
I hope not.
Just kidding, ladies and gentlemen.
Wouldn't be the first time.
Actually, I had to get used to that when we started streaming. It's like, oh, wait, I can't pick my teeth while I'm out. The things that you do when you're on radio mode, it's just like you can be doing anything. You can be doing it in your, naked and nobody's going to know. But now you're on camera. It's like suddenly you got to start thinking, well, I can't do that. I can do this. I can't do that.
It's like the time when 10-foot satellite dishes first came out for the civilian population. You could watch the satellite feeds of live local news or live news, whatever. Oh. I was sitting there watching at a girlfriend's house way back when, and it was late night. It was like 2 o'clock, and for some reason Tom Brokaw, they were something anyhow. But there he is, just picking his nose between, because he had, he didn't realize it at the time. People were seeing him on satellite. They're like, oh, I'm on an ad here,
Yeah.
Got to pay the bills, so I'm going to pick my nose.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I'm sure that's probably true. But it's something that I've definitely had to get used to doing these live streams. Is that people can see me now. I can't I can't make stupid faces or like.
Oh, but you still do, because I sit here and watch you do it all night.
I do not. I don't.
No, I don't. Don't embarrass me in front of the company.
Yeah, I know, but you know what I'm saying. It's just like it's just a different consideration. It's a whole different element doing this stuff on a live stream as well as being live on the air.
Yeah.
So, and it's also doubly complicated that way because when we have problems, it's like, oh my god,
everybody gets to watch them.
I know. I just pucker up. I'm just like, I'm pressing diamonds into my shorts. Let me tell you.
Goodness. Oh, jeez.
That was pretty funny. You gotta admit, that was kind of clever.
That was a portal potty joke.
I don't know. They keep putting microphones in front of us, so you're going to get what you get.
Well, the only ones who can stop us now is, YouTube and the geos.
Yeah, that's right. They could drop their geographical hammer.
The ban hammer.
Yeah.
Oh, you had some more stories, didn't you? Awesome.
I've got a few more. I got a few more.
Go for it.
It's always a few loaded up in the chamber here on the portal.
It's always story time in the portal.
In 1948, Mr. E.J.A. Reynolds was just 10 years old when he was visiting Horsham, England, during a school summer holiday. He went out one moonlit night to set a rabbit traps. Oh wait, I've already read this. This is a duplicate.
Yeah,
Wow, and I remember saying, wow, they used 3 initials for the guy. I think it was IJA on the other one, though.
No, it was EJ.
Oh, was it really? Yeah. Okay, Mr. Paying Attention.
Well, I don't know why I don't get paid for it.
All of these stories on this one are exact copies of the last one. That sucks. Bunch of cannibals. Okay, December 20th, 1989, between 2:30 and 3:10 p.m., I had fallen asleep in my bedroom around noon, and I was awakened from my nap by a strong fluttering movement by my face. I could feel the air currents from the wings beating as rapidly as the wings of hummingbirds. There were 3 of them. I was awake enough to realize that they were there with me. The sheet covering me was just rippling like tiny waves because of the fast motion of their wings. They made in all a series of 3 fluttering passes across my face. Once, twice, and one of them would come so close she would brush against my skin. I was drowsy, but I could see them clearly. Then suddenly they were gone. I arose quickly and drew out an illustration, which is not included here, so I have no idea what that illustration was, but very wild. Wait, this one's different. I never read this one.
Okay.
This happened in 1967. The weirdest part of this story is that my younger sister and I never knew that our older sister had seen the demon elves too. Until all of us were grown with kids of our own. My younger sister, Clarice, and I love to ride horses. Why does that name always remind me of Silence of the Lambs? Clarice.
And fava beans.
And Chianti. Yeah. And I love to ride horses. Almost every day in the summer, we would set off to the stables. We left very early in the morning so it was our habit to climb out of our bedroom window so that we would not wake up the rest of the family. One morning, Clarice was part of the way out of the window when she let out a god-awful scream and started moving in reverse quickly. I was trying to push her forward, but she came crashing back into me, and we landed in a heap on the bedroom floor. Clarice was white, and I could tell she was really frightened, almost in shock. I kept asking her what was wrong, but it took her a while to be able to tell me. When she finally told me what she had seen, I didn't believe her. She said there were 4 little men outside in the bushes, and they looked like little demon elves. She said she could tell they were evil. I didn't believe in the supernatural at the time, so to tease her, and because I couldn't see any demon elves outside, I leapt out the window and ran over to the bushes and started crouching down, calling the little elves to show themselves.
Oh, boy.
They didn't, and I wrote the whole thing off as a very vivid imagination on my sister's part. Years later, we 3 sisters were together, visiting and talking, and Clarice asked me if I remember the demon elves. At that, our older sister, Christy, turns as white as a ghost and said, "You saw them too?" It turns out that on that very same morning, Clarice had seen them. Those evil elves had awakened Christy by scratching at her window, laughing evilly, and calling her name. She said when she got up to see who was at her window, she almost fainted. It was the same evil elves Clarice had seen. She screamed at them to go away, and after some time of tormenting her, they backed into the bushes where the unfortunate Clarice saw them. The scariest part was when Clarice said, "Remember that you couldn't see them?" I nodded my head, and she continued, "When you ran up to the bushes, they were still there. You were just inches away from them, and they disappeared." We never saw the demon elves again, but to this day, we 3 sisters all agree they really were there. Wow. That's all kinds of wrong. That's whole buckets of wrong right there, Don.
That's a whole bunch of noops. I got a coffee can full of noops.
Right, yeah, noops or nopes? Is that your Irish version of nope?
Noops.
I say noop to you. Want to come over? I say noop.
So
sorry, that's the best I got. Nope. So what? What were you saying?
Well, I guess Christy sent us an email.
But I didn't see it. I checked.
I think she said something about how to rewrite it and blah 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 blah. I'm sorry, but but she wanted to know if we could read it. I don't. So I don't know.
I don't see any email.
Well, here let me get her the Paranormal.
You can probably just type that without talking, and I can continue here.
Okay, fine. Be that way.
In the 1920s, in the wilds of County Donegal, Ireland, my great-grandfather was the police officer. One night on returning home through a lonely road, he began to hear some of the most beautiful music he had ever heard. He then saw a circle of figures in a nearby field dancing to the music, which he watched for a while before being overcome with an urge to escape from the area, which he believes the fairies induced in him. Despite being laughed at and being joked at, he swore what he saw was real and genuine. In a separate incident in that same area, he was riding his horse along another lonely road when the horse, which had been calm for the whole way, suddenly bolted and became very scared and hesitated before making an enormous jump over something unseen in the darkness. It then threw him off and galloped away like the wind, leaving my great-grandfather to get home in darkness on his own. He always claimed that the horse had sensed something like a demon or evil spirit and jumped over it. I don't know. Animals are super sensitive.
That's true.
But you gotta love that devotion those horses show, don't you? So, nope, I'm out.
See ya. Bye-bye. Have a nice walk.
Sucks to be you.
Sucks to be you.
It's the old bear story. While you're getting your shoes on, you can't outrun a bear. No, I just got to outrun you.
Yeah, I just got to outrun you. Bear only chases till he catches the last one.
Yeah, exactly. Just want to drag something down. Whoever's the slowest, that's the problem. So,
hey, what's that pistol for? Your knee?
Yeah, right. Just going to hamstring you quick, and then I'll be on my way.
Oh, jeez.
Here's an example of a wondrous occurrence from December 20th, 1989. I read this already. Never mind.
Okay.
Yeah, I read that one. Never mind. I've just been this page is just staggered stories all over the place. So I'm trying to figure out where the hell I am and what I've done and haven't done here.
Somewhere over the rainbow.
Okay. I grew up on a farm because my dad worked as a foreman for an apple grower. I was no more than 2 years old, but they came to me even before I turned 2. But as God is my witness, these little people dressed in brown and red and different colored outfits would come into my crib and play with me. There was a total of 5 of them with three females and 2 males. And they would come at night when my parents were asleep. They were so sweet and friendly to me, and I remember once my mom started moving around in the bed, and they all eased down my crib and went away. I guess thinking that they might get caught. It's been years since that has happened. We moved into the city, and I never saw those little people again. I really like them, and I wonder to this day if they are still on that farm or in those orchards living on today.
No kidding.
Anyway, that's what I experienced, and it really happened. I believe it or not. I say, you know, like I said, anything's possible. I know some people are just going, what the hell? Are you serious? And I get it. Believe me, I do, because I don't know what it is about these stories, though. They just resonate with me. Like, I can't explain it. I just am always fascinated with these stories. So, yeah, if she sends that oh.
Well, I told them we'll probably read it on Wednesday.
Well, no, I mean, I definitely want to read submissions on weekends, though, because I want to share it with the the whole
audience,
the whole network, absolutely, because that, you know, those are a real treat. So, okay, so this is from Lady Death. It just came in. Let me pull it up on this screen here. Hold on, I got screens all over the place, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just all over the map here.
You got screens.
Oh, it's not here yet. Hold on, I got to refresh over here. Must have just came in. So this is from Lady Death.
Here we go, Lady Death.
When I was young, my grandmother passed away in her home while I was there. Shortly after, I spent the night in her old bedroom and saw her face in the upper corner of the bedroom. I told my parents, and they asked if it scared me. And I said no. I don't remember that happening, but my parents told me about it a year ago. About 10 years later, my grandfather passed away in the same home. About 2 years passed, and then I moved into the home with my now ex-boyfriend. I had just finished watching the movie White Noise in the living room where my grandpa had passed away. Suddenly, I heard static come on the radio in the kitchen. Ooh, cool. It kind of spooked me, but then I went into the kitchen where my grandmother had passed away. The radio was unplugged, lit up, and playing static. I ran outside and did not go back until my boyfriend came home.
No kidding. Good
on you. I'm all for being, brave and being, but there's comes a point where you're just like, nope, we just reached that part where I don't stay.
we just got to the nope point.
Yeah. I mean, you know what they say, you've got to stand your ground. You've got to, be respectful but firm. But in a situation like that where it's just defying everything you understand as reality, it's like, that's a good time to get some fresh air. I'm with you there. Those are awesome. Those are awesome stories. Thank you so much.
That's awesome.
For sending them. And I'll read your guys' stuff anytime. I don't care. It's absolutely wonderful. But again, if you submit stories, I'm going to wait till a weekend to do it. Because on Wednesdays, I love doing the Wednesday stream, but it's only the YouTube audience. And so I would rather share it with the entirety of our audience, including TFR Live, iHeart, TuneIn, TalkStream, and wherever else people are catching our stuff.
That was a great story.
That really was. That was cool.
That's why you send in submission stories. That's awesome.
I mean, like I said, even if they're not really that fantastic, if it's just like, I was in there and I saw this white cloud move across the hall. I mean, it's just this ambiguous white cloud. But to me, every one of them's awesome. If you saw a playing card flip over for no reason, that to me is awesome. I love all of them because it's just another affirmation for those of us that, that are passionate about this, that this stuff is going on all over the place. Mm-hmm. And nobody's heard your stories before. So it's really an honor that you guys are sending them in.
So we can tell them to over thousands of people.
Well, yeah, right. But, I mean, obviously, I think people enjoy having the forum to share these things as well. And now, granted, it's not like things used to be. There's plenty of forums to do that. Right. But I'm really honored that you chose ours. That just means the world to me. So,
Oh, Lichty finally came over from TFR to YouTube to chat with us there.
Miss
too.
Lichty, good to see you, Les. That's awesome. I just love the amount of love that goes on in every episode. So, yeah, there she is. Okay.
Yep, there she
Very
is.
cool. So I'm going to continue on these stories. Did you have another one, Don, you wanted to read?
I've got quite a few, but some of them
Absolutely.
are kind of long. You want me to go ahead?
Well, what do we got? 28 seconds before our last break. Why don't you read one more on the other side of the break?
Okay,
then?
cool.
I guess I won't even start to read another one now because we're going to break. But ladies and gentlemen, make sure to come over to YouTube and subscribe to our channel. Like and subscribe. And we'll be right back after these messages for the last half hour of the show. Don't go away. welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the last half hour of our portal tonight. It's just flown by, tech problems and all. It just goes so fast. It's doesn't it, Don? I mean, is it just me, or is it? I mean, obviously we say this every week, but I just cannot believe how quickly this goes.
Yeah, you open the portal, and well, you know, portals are time sinks. You know, they just really are. You know, it's crazy.
It is. You're right. But here we are, ladies and gentlemen. 1.5 hour to go. And we're getting more email as the clock ticks. Wow, it's crazy. So I'm going to read another email for you guys.
Yeah.
If I can find it. There it is.
Is that, which one is that?
This is from Heather.
Heather. Very good.
Heather submitted this, and she's got pretty amazing experiences here. So let me get into this. This is email from Heather here on the Paranormal Portal. Paranormal Portal exclusive emails. I was trained by angels since I was young. Good Lord. I don't like the font size on this page.
Blow that sucker up.
I don't know how to on Internet Explorer Edge, whatever the hell it's called. It says, I was trained by angels since I was young. I had frequent visits throughout my life. I am not religious and never was raised in any religion. We didn't have a Bible in the house and only went to church for funerals and weddings. I know what you mean. That's about the most times I went too. The things I've experienced and the things I was taught were from the angels. They never lie, unlike humans. Very true. Regarding paranormal state of things, which was last night's show title, why are we having so many paranormal things happening, and why are so many are awakening or becoming more spiritual? That's the question I raised last night, and I'm looking forward to this. The planet is ascending. The earth is being flooded with old experienced souls. Very cool. Yeah. Currently, we have some of the oldest souls in existence walking the earth. As these souls are born into human bodies, it raises the consciousness and vibration of the human body, as well as the planet, nature, etc. It causes the human species as a whole and the planet to ascend through dimensions and be brought to a higher state of vibration, and therefore understanding. Do not let physical age fool you. Many of the children coming in are very talented and are often older in soul than their physical parents. That's incredibly profound. Thank you for sharing that part as well. I put the question out there last night. You know, what do you guys think? What's going on? Is the vibration of our reality changing, or are we vibrating higher? Are we seeing and experiencing more? What do you guys think is going on? I got some great responses last night, and now this is another great response as well. And I think what everybody's saying is all the same thing. So it's really neat that although she, frames this differently, Ian was saying the same thing, and of course I believe the same thing as well, and that the vibration is just going up, not only in ourselves but in the world around us. And I agree with the old souls. I agree, because I'm looking in my 2-year-old's eyes, and that kid is smarter than I am at 2 years old.
It's scary, isn't it?
It is, man. It's really scary. They're just so sharp. All right, so I have so many stories I don't even know where to begin. When I was young, my mother and I lived in my grandma's house. According to them, they were talking about my grandmother's sister and the day she drowned. I was very little, under 5, so I don't remember, but apparently I ran up and said, "She didn't drown. She was killed by the 2 guys with the truck and a boat. They lived close, and she knew them." 20 years later, at a family get-together, my cousin brought her family tree research. She pulled out a newspaper article about the day my grandmother's sister drowned. In the article, it said that she was seen earlier in the day with 2 local men in a truck with a boat being pulled behind it. They questioned the men and let them go and deemed her death accidental. It wasn't. Wow. That's amazing. Adjustments to this life was very hard for me. I always felt very alien, like I was dropped off here. I know how you feel.
We understand.
Yeah, you're among kindred spirits, believe me. I had a hard time getting used to this human experience and longed for home all the time. I apparently told my mother this a lot when I was little. I would say, I missed home. This place called Earth isn't it. On another occasion, again, while little, I ran up to my mother and said, "We are like body snatchers. We pick out bodies to live in. These bodies aren't the real us." I cannot imagine what my poor mother thought. Yeah, no kidding. I had what many have called an NDE, or that's Near-death experience, yeah. However, I do not call it that because I wasn't injured or close to death that I know of. I was 5 when that happened, and I also have had OBE, out-of-body experiences, STE. I'm not sure STE. I used to know all these. Astral travel, astral projection, remote viewing, medium and psychic abilities since I was very young. I'm now a spiritual teacher, guide, and coach, and do cleansing, blessings, and many other things when and where I am needed. This email is getting a tad long, so I will leave those stories for another time. Thanks for listening, Heather. Well, thank you, Heather, for sending that in. That was an amazing email and amazing stories, and I'm with you all the way. I mean, I think a lot of us feel like this doesn't feel like home, you know.
Yeah.
But it's the home we have.
NOTW.
Yeah.
Not of this world.
Yeah, right, exactly. So, but thank you so much for sharing, and I would love to hear more of those stories when you get them, or when you can type them out and send them in. I'd be honored to share them. So thank you for that.
That was awesome, yeah.
That
Thank
really
you, Heather.
Every email we've gotten has just been amazing. Very humbling, but I'll take it. It was a strange morning, to say the least. One day in May 1913, young brothers Silby, Sid, and Clyde Latham were chopping cotton on their families. This sounds familiar. When their dog started to bark. This is the green thing.
The green guy that got ripped apart. And,
that's another repeat.
Body parts everywhere. Okay.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, that one. The one that stuck out in my head.
There's another one, the Isle of Man. That one's a repeat from another site.
Wow, that's
Fairy Investigation Society.
Yeah.
Wow. Neil Colton. Yeah, most of these are repeats. I'm sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. I had no idea that I was going to find 2 almost identical sites.
Hey,
but
can I read this about Banshees?
Please do. Okay. I'd love to have you share the stories of Banshees.
Well, this is kind of an explanation, it seems, of Banshees. It's a little bit long, so bear with me. And I'll probably mispronounce all the names in it, so just, don't worry about it. A few places in the world can match Ireland for folklore and the tales of paranormal events and or supernatural creatures. Irish history is full of legends of leprechauns and fearsome warrior kings. It may be unfair for the Irish to become more well-known these days for shamrocks, lucky clovers, and brewing Guinness. However, the Guinness is good. Oh, that was me. That wasn't the story.
Oh.
While there are similar legends from Scottish Queens of Winter, from the Scottish Queen of Winter, is that Bera, to the Welsh dragons, and the Norse, whatever those are. So, Flyuja, Filja, I don't know, Fylgja. There can be few to match the appeal of the revered Celtic messenger of death, better known as the Banshee. Occasionally referred to as that Banshees, the Irish Banshee is a fairy-like creatures that often manifests itself in the body of a female with either flowing long hair red as fire and pale skin, or as more senior woman with gray hair, rotting teeth, and fiery eyes. One common denominator between all descriptions is the comb wedged into the hair. Many Irish still consider it bad luck or ill omen to find a discarded comb on the ground. The scream of a banshee, known locally as keening, was firmly believed to be a harbinger of impending death, particularly among the 5 most prominent families within Ireland: the O'Neills, the O'Briens, the O'Connors, the Kavanaghs, and the O'Gradys. Over several generations, many of these families blended, and eventually believed that the Banshees evolved to become part of the majority of the Irish families. Tactics such as immigrating did little to offset the spirit, as it would often travel the world to be with them. While it isn't known for certain, there is evidence that the origin of the Banshee can be placed in the early 8th century. An Irish tradition of the time saw women lament the passing of a warrior or soldiers with a mournful song. These women were reputedly given or offered alcohol as a method of payment. At this time, the Irish Church considered the bartering system contradictory in the eyes of God, and that these women were punished for their activities, forever becoming banshees. Another popular idea for the origin of the superstitious cry is the notion that the humble barn owl was responsible. Ireland wasn't always a welcoming place that it's known for today. In ancient times, barn owls would often notice an invading force and alarm a defending army with a piercing screech, and take flight. Sightings of a banshee would be reported infrequently. Part of the legend of the banshee does claim that if one sees one, or thinks it has been seen, then it will vanish inside a cloud of smoke or mist, and the only evidence that it was there was the flapping of the wings. As scary as the cry of the banshee is said to be, the Irish do not strictly believe that a banshee is ever actually responsible for a death that could follow shortly afterwards. There are reports from the Middle Ages that a banshee would actually serve to protect individuals that were pure or noble if death were to claim them. One of the best-known cases of a banshee appearance actually occurring to a non-Irish individual. On 21 February 1437, King James I of Scotland was approached by an Irish seer who predicted the monarch's assassination. Not long after this approach, the king found himself trapped inside a sewer tunnel where he was fatally injured. The seer was strongly rumored to have been a banshee. It isn't just people or dignitaries that hear the wails of banshees. Eerie wailing has been reported, focusing on trees, faunas, rivers, and standing stones. The so-called banshees' chairs are wedge-shaped rocks that can be found in numerous places in and around Waterford, Carlow, and Monaghan. Reports of banshee sightings are still made to this day. One reported sighting occurred early in the hours of June of 2014. What began as an apparent cat call in the middle of one night quickly developed into an apparently terrifying sighting of a banshee. The sound metamorphed into a shrill scream that seemed to be coming closer and closer. The witnesses involved investigated from within the relative safety of indoors and reported a woman standing out in the open, head back, screaming loudly enough to cause irritation to the ears of the witnesses. After several more minutes, a single police car arrived on the scene, but whatever was seen outside had disappeared. The attending police officers actually suggested the possibility of a banshee sighting. On the same night, a death in the family of a sole witness was recorded. That almost sounds like my mother.
Is that the end of it?
That's the end of it.
Very cool.
Well, it ended with a death in one of the families of the witnesses.
It did. It did indeed.
Wow.
That it did, sir. And there you have it.
Yes.
There's one other story. I never did get that email, so I did continue to check.
Okay.
But it didn't come in. So I guess if you have sent in an email and it hasn't gotten to us yet for whatever reason, just know that we'll read it on the next weekend shows, which will be next Friday, I guess. So I have a story about an Irish ghost here.
Oh.
My mom is from a small town in Ireland called Oughterard. Oughterard? Yeah, it looks right. And there were very few cars there and only 2-lane roads. When my mom, let's call her B, was little, her mom used to take her into the city with her on the weekends. Galway was a small city, and not a lot of people lived there. They were on their way back from one such trip when they passed someone on the road that they were walking on. Now, in both Galway and Oughterard, everyone knew each other, so you knew if there was a stranger in your midst. Neither B nor her mom recognized the guy and assumed that he was either new to the area or just visiting. However, all that changed once they passed him. B said that she remembers feeling really cold as they walked past him, and her mom tried to greet him, but he didn't say anything and just kept on walking, like she wasn't even there. To this day, my mom has no idea who or what he was, but she thinks he may have been a ghost of someone who may have lived in the area at some point. Yeah, that's a good sign. If it gets cold, ladies and gentlemen, that's a good sign that whoever you're talking to may not be alive. Just saying, that's what I understand. So now I found this whole page about the Carlington leprechaun hunt, but it looks more legend and fun, what have you, but it says the Carlington leprechauns are an endangered species. Okay, so I'm just going to read this. Well, maybe I should just read the whole thing. I don't know. We got 10 minutes. I guess I can get through this. The origins of the Carlington leprechaun hunt. The story began in 1989 with a man by the name of P.J. O'Hare. O'Hare was tending his garden when he heard a scream coming from nearby Foy Mountain in Mourne Mountain Range. He rushed up the mountain to find something that astonished him. Scorched earth and charred bones surrounded by a green suit, hat, and several other items. These were all of very small size, including the skeletal remains. He also found 4 gold coins. He became convinced these items belonged to a genuine, albeit now deceased, leprechaun. He placed all the items inside of a glass box at his pub, where they remain to this day. There's a picture. Wow.
Wow.
That is quite small.
Yeah, it is.
I guess that's what they look like.
Huh.
Well, that's what their bones. I guess they only have like stiff arms though, because it's like
there's no
like elbow
there,
cook in there at all.
Well, what is that? The shoulder? What is it?
I don't know, like shoulder blades maybe. I don't know.
Well, they turn up like horns out of your shoulder. They're like.
I don't know. Maybe that's the best way they rest on the shelf.
Come at me, bro.
So some of the people in Carlington believed that him, while others didn't. One of his friends who didn't believe Micolite wanted to find out whether there really were leprechauns in the area, so he arranged a leprechaun hunt in which he hid 5 ceramic leprechauns and 1,000 Irish pounds of prize money under each for any who could find them. How is that? Micoilty? I don't know. Reasoned that in looking for the ceramic leprechauns, one of the hunters might accidentally come across a real leprechaun. There were no such sightings, and the hunt is now done every year in March on a Sunday beginning at 2 p.m. So far, no genuine little folk have turned up in these annual hunts, as far as the author is aware. Further leprechaun encounters. After O'Hare died, the remains and items purportedly belonging to a leprechaun remained in the pub, which was sold, except for the 4 gold coins, which went missing. However, these coins were found a few years later in a purse discovered within a stone wall near Micolite's house. Micolite was repairing the wall when he came across it. After receiving the items, I don't know how the hell to use Micoilty? I don't know. I'm sorry, I'm butchering the hell out of that name, but that's the best I got, so I'm calling him Micoilty. Began to have encounters with leprechauns too. His first leprechaun encounter was one day when he was walking his dog through the nearby mountains. While walking, he saw 3 leprechauns sitting on a rock. They did not take notice of Micoilty, who, along with his dog, were paralyzed and could not move for several minutes until the leprechauns disappeared under the rock. When Micoilty returned home, he was interrogated by his wife as to where he had been. He insisted that he had only been gone for about an hour and a half. His wife then informed him that he had been gone over 7 hours. It was midday when he had gone out, and it was now 8 o'clock in the evening. After this, Micoilty became a firm believer in leprechauns. Micoilty had several other encounters with leprechauns, including one with a leprechaun who called himself Carriag, C-A-R-R-I-A-G, who claimed to be an elder of 236 leprechauns who lived in the nearby mountain. Carriag told Micoilty that he and the other leprechauns with him were the last of their kind, and that there used to be millions of them on the island. When asked where they had all gone, the aged fairy responded that they had all died out because people stopped believing in them. After this, Micoilty and like-minded individuals began to campaign for the mountain that was home to the leprechauns to be made a protected area by the European Union. His wish was finally granted in 2009 when it was made into a preserve under the EU Habitats Directive. The EU officials agreed to add the leprechauns as a protected species because they could not prove nor disprove their existence. Today, Carlingford has a folklore park and other attractions to celebrate the leprechauns who are believed to live in their mountains.
Wow.
So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. A little legend, a little lore, and a lot of love here on the Portal.
Hey, you occasionally tell about this story about these people are out doing construction work. They're clearing land, and they come one day, and none of the equipment works, and they call in.
Oh, that's Iceland.
Oh, is that Iceland?
Iceland. Those are the fairy folk in Iceland. Essentially, Iceland, I believe, has some sort of intermediary between the people and the fairy folk that allegedly live within different parts of Iceland. And these people are consulted whenever there's going to be a construction project. And in one case, the famous case that I have heard of is they were doing a road construction project and came upon this area that was that had to be planed off and made ready for the road.
Right.
And suddenly it was believed that this area was a habitat for the fairies. And suddenly none of the equipment worked. Things kept breaking down. They had nothing but problems and nothing would work. And so they appealed to this representative, this person who calls himself somewhat of an intermediary, to go and meet with the fairies and get them to agree to the solution. And so the guy went out and did whatever he did. I don't pretend to know what it was that he did, but he met with them or meditated to them, or however it works, and came up with an agreement, and they agreed to allow their homes to be relocated or moved. And then as soon as that happened, boom, everything started working normally. Construction proceeded on schedule, and there were no further problems.
Yeah. That's
and so, so this is the Icelandic culture, which really embraces the whole idea of the Fae and their involvement in the natural world. And that's kind of my belief too, is that these are a special kind of being, and whether they're completely physical or whether they're completely spiritual or whether there's something in between, I don't pretend to know. I've had no encounters of my own that I know of, so I'll just say that it's up in the air what the hell it could be. But I believe that they are part of the natural order, that they're part of perhaps a guardian spirit kind of thing that manages areas of nature and keeps them in balance and keeps them, working the way they're supposed to work according to the natural order. And that when people come in and do what people do, which is bulldoze everything, they, smooth out all the ground and pave it and put up fences and lawns and houses, and they completely throw that natural order out of whack. And so these things can become perhaps angry spirits. They can become whatever they choose to, because are they magical or not? It depends on what you believe, but I think that they can become pretty pissed off, and they can make life incredibly difficult. Kind of like the old Poltergeist movie, right? Where they build on top of the cemetery and
graveyard,
yeah, the graveyard, and all the spirits, of course, are really pissed off about that. Well, same kind of thing. So there are vengeful natural spirits as well. Now, I don't know. I mean, people are reporting seeing these things as physical beings. Now, they also exhibit this magical abilities to disappear and to glamour people and to do all kinds of other things and to illuminate or make light and do what would appear to be Hollywood style kind of effects. But I'm not saying they're not real. They very well could be. Like I said, we're just starting to tap what is possible as far as reality is concerned. So, but yeah, that's a really cool story. But we're actually moving to the very tail end of the show, ladies and gentlemen. We've made it through another episode of the Paranormal Portal. We recovered from our initial bumps in the road, and I think we've had a hell of a show. What do you think, Don?
It's been good.
We did all right. We did as well as we know how to do anyway, so that's what you got going for you. It just doesn't get any better than this from us right now. It might get better someday.
Well, maybe Wednesday will be better,
No.
Just
Friday
that's just
the thing,
that,
though. That's what's weird. It's just there has been no problems. There's no reason that one tile should have just suddenly stopped working.
Right.
And that's the kind of weird crap that I try to wrap my head around. It's like, why? I mean, I don't mind if things come up and weird things happen. To me, that's fine. But when it affects what we're able to do in our broadcast, it's like, no, not now.
Right. Yeah,
You know?
absolutely.
So, because I'm so invested in this Paranormal Portal. I'm so invested into making it an entertaining, fun, and exciting experience. And of course, nothing is exciting about watching me sweat and pull my hair out, and stress. That's certainly not exciting for me, and I'm sure you guys don't enjoy it either. So I am sorry for the problems we have. I don't know always why we have them, but I'm glad we were able to find a solution. Please find us on Facebook, facebook.com/Paranormal Portal Radio. Come and subscribe on our YouTube page, and make sure to stick around for Jimmy Jean Into the Microcosm with his co-host Brandy, as they are working hard on their production and keeping you guys entertained. So love you all. Be good, be kind, be nice, and we'll see you on Wednesday.